Hi everybody, welcome back to the Millcreek Government Channel, and the doctor is in the house for you today. A gentleman of renowned in his profession, a great friend of mine, a father of twins, soon to be a father of a single baby. I'm talking, of course, about Dr. Brandon Kramer. Brandon is the head of the Millcreek Paramedics Service. He's the executive director of MPS, and he also works at St. Vincent Health Center Emergency Medicine.
That's correct.
And St. Vincent Hospital, and I don't think he ever sleeps. So, and thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking time from your busy schedule, because you're wearing that patch that says Millcreek Paramedic Service and the executive director. That is just wonderful. You are so well placed for that. Let's brag on you a little bit. You finished your doctoral degree from LECOM?
I did. I got an education at LECOM, and now I'm training at St. Vincent.
Wow. That's just amazing. And of course, it took a little bit of time to get that education. How long?
The education up to that point was several years. I did a couple of degrees, and then I went to med school, so 4 years of school, and then another 4 years of postgraduate training in the emergency department.
Well, you're well qualified for your position. That's my point. My point is that. Well, we're here today to talk about the Millcreek Paramedic Service and your membership in SAME. So the stage and the floor is yours. And in fact, you want to maybe mention for people who are over 65 years of age, a really good deal going on right now.
Yeah, so we're entering the membership drive for Millcreek Paramedic Service. It's a big fundraiser for us. First thing people always ask us is, well, what is a membership? Quite simply, the easiest way to answer would say this is our membership. Most people in the township will get it in the mail. What the membership is it's means you belong to Millcreek Paramedic Service. You're supporting us financially if we take you to the hospital.
Right.
And we do our treatment, we get you to the hospital. There's a bill associated with that. We bill insurance. And depending on what type of insurance you have, it's complicated these days in terms of who has what type of coverage. A lot of times people have to pay out of pocket for that service. And sometimes it's $50, sometimes it's $100. If you are a member of Millcreek Paramedic Service, we still bill the insurance, but there will be no out-of-pocket balance paid for by the patient for having used our service. You can use our service as many times in a year as you need to. I hope it's not much. And I understand that people don't want to call us in our line of work, but if you do need to use us, people can be assured that there'll be no out-of-pocket expense. So you get that benefit of the membership. The other membership benefit, and it's really a community benefit, is the money that we get from the membership drive is directly reinvested back into the organization to improve our equipment, our training, those kind of things.
And service. I just want to show that again, and thanks for taking a shot at that, Bill. Right now, currently, people are aware that in Millcreek at West Ridge, they are going to be paying people. Does that fit into your great plan of how the service has improved?
Yeah, actually, I'm very excited about it's called the Immediate Response Team, or the IRT team, and West Ridge has really been adamant about trying to improve their level of service to that area of Millcreek Township. Sort of how Millcreek Paramedics was formed in 1999, believe it or not. Here we are 15 years into the organization, and it's gone by quickly. Kind of little history on that. Millcreek Paramedic Service really is part of the 80-year tradition of the volunteer fire service. One of our residents has a medical emergency. They called for help. At the time, the fire departments would show up and help. Well, over the years, Millcreek grew and grew and grew. And lo and behold, the volunteers started to strain their system. They couldn't really keep up with the volume of emergency calls. So they came together in 1999, pulled their resources together, and formed a paid ambulance service to meet the needs. So now if somebody calls 911 for a medical emergency in Millcreek Township, we have a paid crew in station, out the door in 2 minutes. Fast forward 15 years to present day, West Ridge Fire Department identified that they have a staffing issue. It's no secret that volunteer fire departments throughout not only Pennsylvania but throughout the country are having problems finding well-trained, qualified people to answer their calls. The demands of the day for most families, you don't work an 8-hour job anymore, come home and have the rest of your day to volunteer. Families are working sometimes 2 jobs. There's not a lot of time to volunteer. The training requirements increase every year. It's difficult to find good qualified members to answer those calls.
Absolutely.
So West Ridge put their mind to task, worked well with the Millcreek Township supervisors. They came together and said, why don't we try a different program? Let's try coming up with a program where we pay people by hour to sit in the station. So during peak identified hours, and as far as I understand it right now, that's 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, when most volunteers are at their jobs, not available to answer fire calls. Wow. What if we paid somebody to be in that fire truck and available to respond? So just like Millcreek Paramedic Service has a crew ready to respond within a matter of minutes to an emergency call, So would Westridge Fire Department with a fire engine on their end of Millcreek Township. So it's a very exciting time.
It is. And I tend to think it's going to go forward from that, and others will be doing that. As you so rightfully and so well characterized it, it's very difficult to get these people. It's an uphill struggle. This, I think, is a good solution to that. The membership we discussed, and you're very familiar with because you're working in the medical profession. Let's say Phil needs an ambulance, so my wife calls 911. What happens? What's the process?
The process is, number one, you've identified it. You've identified a problem early, and that's really what I try to stress with patients is they always say, well, I don't want to bother anyone. Well, that's what we're in the business of. We're in the business of being bothered. We want you to call at the first sign of symptoms. It's the first sign that something's not right. I want you to pick up the phone and call 911. Why is that? Well, it's much easier to treat you early in the state of your emergency than it is if you wait too long. I'll be working much harder if you delay the process. So at the first sign of problem, call 911. Our dispatch center is an excellent dispatch center. They'll triage the call appropriately, send it to not only the ambulance in that area, but we have what we call a tiered response system in Millcreek Township. And we have over 200 volunteers with medical training that are members of our fire departments. So if you live in the Westridge district and you call 911, your fire department and the ambulance are dispatched to that emergency. And the reason that's such a great system is that we have over 200 responders that wear their pagers on them at all times. Now there's systems that send the call to the cell phone, that you can have it through other methods of technology. Your neighbor may be a volunteer and know that you have a need for help at your house. You may have someone at your doorstep within a matter of seconds, not even minutes these days. It's a great system. The ambulance arrives, and then we take over care and transport you to the hospital of your choice.
I've heard, and I think men are more guilty of this than women, is, you know, I'll drive myself to the hospital. It'll be okay. It's just my chest. It's
just your chest. You're right.
And you want to go, that's not a good decision.
It's not a good decision.
Not a good decision.
And what I stress on folks that do this, and we see that at the hospital end a lot of times, you know, who brought you in? Because I want to know what kind of care was done in the ambulance. It helps me guide my treatment. And they'll say, well, I drove myself. Well, not only is it dangerous for you, but it's dangerous for everyone else on the road. If you have your condition were to suddenly deteriorate while you were driving a car and you lose consciousness or the ability to control that vehicle and wreck into someone else. Now you're taking somebody else's life to task and not doing what's in your best interest either.
Have you always wanted to be a doctor?
It's kind of tough to say. I think I did at some point. I was always afraid of the organic chemistry and the chemistry. And in all fairness, I don't know if I was, let's just say, mature enough at the time when I was in undergrad the first time to take those courses and pass.
Yeah, I think you always wanted to be a doctor. You're an excellent doctor. You're the kind of person that has the great bedside manner. So when you go to work in the hospital, what do you do?
Well, it's a shift starts out. We basically get there, we take sign out from the shift that's going off, and then we just start the day. We pick up a chart and get started. So much like we do in the EMS field, we pick up our basic information from what's taken in our triage, and we see what the chief complaint is. We'll look sometimes at the medical records. We'll look at the vital signs the nurses have taken. Then we go in and we talk to the patient, and so it begins, and then we take it from there.
Busiest time for that type of procedures or medical goings on? Is there you can say, it's Friday night and we're going to be busy, or it's Tuesday morning and we're going to be busy? Anything that is any pattern?
No rhyme or reason to it. I have an unofficial theory that most people don't like to go to the hospital when it's nice outside. So probably the worst time, in my opinion, to work in the emergency department is after a stretch of about 70-degree days with sun, and you're the first day when it's about 50 and rain, and then everyone tends to show up. Very non-scientific, but it's just a hunch.
Kind of like the weather today.
You kind of like the weather today, that's right.
Yeah, I don't want to make light of this, but right now in the news is, of course, the Ebola that is going around. And before we started taping today, he was telling me that you've done what with this? You've gone out and spoken to?
So actually right now I'm working as an outreach for St. Vincent Hospital with the Erie Fire Department, and there we're doing a brief topic discussion on Ebola and just kind of what to look for, what to be aware of. There's a lot in the media that has people concerned. So we're sharing some just general basic principles of what the virus is, what it entails, and what we should be looking out for as first responders. We are an area of relocation. We do have an immigrant population, and there are people that could potentially come in contact and bring it to the Erie area, and that's something that we hope doesn't happen. In all likelihood, a true case will not happen, but we will be prepared for it if it does. So we're out there spreading the message. From a healthcare standpoint, it's important that even though Ebola is getting all the hype, the flu will by far harm and kill more people this year than any other disease that's currently in the news. So if people ask, what can I do to stay healthy? My advice would be get a flu shot.
That was my next question. You read my notes for sure. The flu shot works. Most people go, now I get the shot, I get the flu. And I want to say, no, that's not, I don't believe that. That's not what happened. The flu shot didn't give you the flu, does it?
I think it gives people in their mind the symptoms that they have of flu. We hear frequently that I get a flu shot and I've never been so sick, or I've been sick all winter. Well, you don't want the true flu, especially if you're a senior, if you're a diabetic, if you have other what we call comorbidities or areas of your health history where you're generally not as healthy as some others. You want to make sure you protect yourself, because the true flu is a killer, and it's something that we always recommend that people are vaccinated against.
Yeah. Let's just generally take a world view here. Are we healthier, or we just like to think that we're healthy and we really aren't? Are we taking better care of ourselves? I mean, you're in great shape. Do you eat properly? I know you don't sleep. Do you exercise? Do you do all the things that people of your age should be doing?
In all honesty,
you can brag.
No,
come on. You can brag.
I don't. With children and being in residency, that often is on the back burner. But as a society, are we healthier? Absolutely not. We're not healthier. We're a growing population. There's an obesity epidemic. Despite all the information available, people still smoke.
Yes.
And let's be honest too, with our lifestyles and the fact how much we have to work to make ends meet, it's difficult to dedicate an hour to yourself every day. By the time the kids go to their practices and dinner's on the table, you're wiped out.
Sure.
So, I think that we are becoming an unhealthier population. I think we're definitely becoming a larger population. And I think we're starting to see a shift in healthcare too, where we're looking at more preventative type of medicine, saying that, rather than let's treat the heart attack, well, let's treat the heart attack, but let's do things 10 years before that to help prevent that and really kind of stave off those major events. So, it's a work in progress, obviously.
Erie, then, the Erie community, the Millcreek community, we tend to smoke too much. We tend to be overweight. We tend to not take care of ourselves. Are those all true statements?
Very true.
As my doctor, what are you going to tell me to do? Gently, remember.
Well,
gently.
in all fairness, for my training, I don't get a lot of time with my patients. So it's not something that I'm probably going to counsel a lot of people with, but a lot of times you just have to scare folks, and you have to tell them, look, this could disable you, this could kill you. These are the diseases that come from a lifetime of living an unhealthy lifestyle, smoking, overweight. Diabetes, it's a very difficult disease. It can be very gruesome in how it presents with patients and the things it takes away from you, your sight, your ability to walk, heart attacks. So sometimes you have to scare people into compliance. And to be honest, Phil, sometimes that's not going to work either. No matter what I say to a lot of folks, it's just not going to make a difference. And unfortunately, we'll end up seeing them in a couple of years for one of those other serious events.
As time goes forward, I'm getting a little personal here. Would you like to have your own practice? Would you like to be in the community as Dr. Kramer, my doctor?
I think given my experience in EMS, this is 20 years now for me.
And you started when? How old were you?
I was 14, so you can do the math.
You're 27.
Thank you very much. Your math is excellent.
Thank you.
I don't foresee myself being in practice. My practice will always either be in the field on an ambulance or in an emergency department. It's just the type of medicine that I enjoy.
Yeah.
I kind of like the kind of the action and the chaos that's going on at all times, it seems, in the emergency department. But so I don't think you'll see me in an office anytime soon.
Okay. Speaking of that action and the chaos, which you are so good at, It's a changing world in which we live in. The state is pretty much the mothership here, commanding that these units start getting together, and you have to have a central dispatching point, and you have to be able to have people on the same page at the same time with radios and with all this equipment, and the technology races ahead of the ability to pay for it, it seems. Thoughts on that? You got an hour, hour and a half. Go ahead.
Oh, great. Well, I might need a little more than that. But, you know, I will say that we drill frequently. And one of the things that we do is, being that we're in Millcreek Township, is the airport drill. We always, every so many years, we have an airport disaster drill where sometimes we bring in a plane to simulate a fire, and the firefighters put out the wreckage, and then we take care of all the patients and triage. And after that drill, every year we come together and we sit down as a team. And we go over what went well and what needs improved. And I've been involved with 4 or 5 of these now over the years, and what always needs improved is the communication. It is amazing that in this day, with this level of technology, that we don't have the ability to communicate with other units. It's me and Millcreek, I cannot directly communicate with Erie Fire. And if we go to assist a county department with an ambulance, it's oftentimes we're not able to communicate. So upgrading the radio system and making sure that we have the ability to work as a team with all responders in the county is not only a good idea, but in my humble opinion, it will save lives, not only of your responders, but of the people we're going to help. So I understand that it's an expensive proposition, but it needs to be done right, and it will save lives in the long run. Phil, it's many years overdue.
Yeah, I think so too. People out there who are watching, we have lots of people watching, they'd love to volunteer for the companies, or how do they do that? How do they go about getting interested? Can they call you directly? Is there a website they can go to get information, phone number? How's that all work?
Well, first, our website is www.millcreekparamedics.com. You can visit at any time. This year is the first year we're actually going to have the ability to have people purchase their membership directly online.
Okay.
So that'll be this year. Anybody wishing to volunteer, you can always call our office if you're interested in doing EMS volunteering, and that's 836-8677, or again, visit the website, or for the fire departments, and that's a real big one too. It doesn't have to be just firefighting you can do. If you have other skills that are applicable, they always need help. They do fantastic work. They're always understaffed. If you have some business background and you don't necessarily want to do the firefighting, they'd be happy to have you come in and help them with their donation drives. It's critical. So I mean, there's all kinds of things that people can do to help. All you have to do is contact your Millcreek department. Our departments are Bell Valley, Kearsarge, Westridge, Westlake, and Lakeshore. Our 5 Millcreek departments. They're actually the owners of Millcreek Paramedic Service as well. And contact them, and they'll be in touch and see what they can do. All the departments pay for the training. So if you decide, hey, this fire department thing is for me, they will pay to send you to classes. They'll pay for your gear. They'll get you everything you need and get you on the right track. But I think, again, as it is anywhere in Pennsylvania and the United States, we are desperate for volunteers in the fire service. And anybody willing to help, I'm sure that your help would be greatly appreciated.
I think it's fair to say that 70% of the volunteer firefighters in the Commonwealth are volunteers, not paid. You know?
Most people don't realize that. I think even in Millcreek Township, a lot of our folks take that for granted. That they drive past a nice fire station and they see the trucks are well maintained and we have great equipment. We're all volunteer. That the only thing that is paid right now in Millcreek Township in terms of emergency service, obviously our great police department, and our EMS service in 1999, and that was out of necessity when the volunteers said, hey, you know, this emergency call volume is far too great for our demands, and now we're getting to that point with fire, and Westridge has answered that by developing this immediate response team that we talked about earlier. And just a note on the immediate response team, Millcreek Paramedic Service is actually going to be doing the administrative infrastructure for that program. We are owned by these volunteer fire departments. We help develop the IRT team, and we developed a plan that if any other of the Millcreek fire departments is interested in doing something similar, all the groundwork has been laid out. So it is available, the plan, to any other Millcreek department.
Now you know why I like this guy, because you explained the complicated so well, so simply. Let's expand this. Do other communities have what we have in Millcreek? Is the same kind of an operation there, that there's a collaboration among the talented? I don't know if that's true everywhere, maybe just around us. Do other communities copy your model?
Well, Not necessarily copy, but I think a lot of communities at this time are looking to options into how to handle EMS, how to handle the reducing population of volunteers. It's becoming a bigger issue. In fact, the Millcreek Township supervisors have asked me to speak in Harrisburg in April at their Township, Pennsylvania Township Supervisors Association.
And the right person, absolutely.
We're going to do a workshop actually on how we address these EMS issues in Millcreek Township for the other townships in the state of Pennsylvania and see if maybe we can start sharing some ideas on how to address this issue. The requirements are always going up in terms of what we need to do, what kind of equipment we need to have, but unfortunately the funding always remains stagnant. And so it's becoming increasingly important for communities to work together, for departments to work together, for township to get along with fire department, those kind of things, and really kind of pull all our resources to answer the call for the next, emergency in our community.
You are the right person that should be there. You're the person on the front lines. No, I'm serious. They've chosen correctly and well when they're asking you to do that. Again, this is Dr. Brandon, excuse me, Dr. Brandon Kramer. He is the executive director of MPS. It says so right on his shirt there on the right side. Kramer, executive director. But other than that, he is a doctor, a graduate of LECOM. Is that how long ago?
I graduated in 2013, so it's still pretty recent.
Newly hatched.
Newly hatched. Yeah. I don't like to leave Erie, Phil. I got my undergrad, my graduate here in Erie.
Don't leave. No.
Trained at LECOM, and now I'm training at St. Vincent. I think everything's here in Erie.
When you go to work, I know I asked you this a little bit earlier. When you go to work, what do you like doing? Here's the tough one. What do you go, you do that. I don't want to do that part.
Well, I think anyone that's involved with the emergency services, and I talked to some guys in the fire department this morning, and it holds true, the paperwork. I'm driven by patient care. I'm driven by the interaction with our patients, taking care of people, and it's definitely the paperwork, and that's not going to change. If anything, it just keeps growing.
Yeah, we were supposed to be a paperless society, I think, weren't we, when the computers came on board? Well, I don't think so anymore. But we want to bring up, again, thank you for joining us too, we want to bring up again that for those of you that this applies to, because we go everywhere, that the memberships are available from the Millcreek Paramedic, and Brandon made a very good point of discussing that a little while ago, and it doesn't hurt to reiterate that. Again, the memberships they entail what, and you don't have to pay whatever.
Yeah, again, first and foremost, and we forget about the community benefit of the membership, which is a membership is critical funding for our local ambulance service. The money that is given to the membership drive we use to buy the next ambulance, and these ambulances go for $120,000 these days.
I was just going to say, what's the price on that?
Big time, $120,000. I had to put new heart monitors in the ambulances just a few years ago. That was over $300,000 purchase. And Millcreek Paramedic Service does not receive any tax funding. It operates solely from the membership drive, the donations from our business community, and the services we render, and then therefore bill insurance.
Okay.
So that's how we protect our community, through the services we render, generates the revenue. The other benefit to the membership drive, again, is to make sure our folks pay no out-of-pocket expense when they do use the ambulance. It protects them from doing that. People ask all the time, where am I covered? You're covered anywhere in Millcreek, anywhere in Erie County with a Millcreek Paramedics. So if you're at a picnic in Northeast and you need an ambulance, our coverage extends to cover you if you're transported anywhere in Erie County. Okay. So that's always important. It's not just coverage within Millcreek Township. Also,
you brought along and said Millcreek Paramedic Service, specialized transportation for our community. Also, this brochure right here. And that is what?
So this is our wheelchair paratransit transportation. We're regulated by the Pennsylvania Public Utilities Commission. And this is a service that not so much on the life-saving end for our community, but more of the quality of life of our community. There's a lot of people that, due to their medical conditions, aren't able to get to their appointments on time, to clinic appointments, physical therapy. We even take people to family occasions on holidays, and a lot of times these folks are wheelchair bound. We have 5 wheelchair vans that are able to take people to appointments. All you have to do is call our office at 836-8677, and we will schedule your appointment and hopefully get you there and back, and we'll get you there in a timely fashion. Our drivers are medically trained, so these are geared, these are medical paratransit vans that are geared for people that have medical problems. Okay, and then again, that phone number is? 836-8677.
That's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week?
Somebody will answer 24 hours a day.
Yeah, okay. I think, thanks for that shot there, Bill. I know we are graying in our area. We are getting older. We're an older community. How does that affect what's going to happen to everything? I mean, we're not getting younger in Erie. You know, the people moving in are not in their 13s and 14s and 20s. And how does that play into what you see, your profession, the medical profession, the doctor that you are?
Well, first from an ambulance standpoint, and I guess it kind of ties in with the hospital, we're busier. As our population ages, they become sicker, the ailments of life start striking us as we age, and we're seeing a rapid increase in our call volumes. We see it in the emergency department. We're just busier. And, you know, again, we get back to the preventative health care that finally things, as we focus on costs, we're starting to worry about how to prevent a lot of these diseases for seniors. You know, it gets to staying active, being active, keeping your mind active. I think there's a lot to be said. We're going to learn a lot more about that in the coming years. And, you know, our medicine's been so focused on what happens when you have the heart attack and how do you treat it that finally we're getting into the realm of how do you prevent it 10 or 15 years before. Same for seniors, stay active.
I think so too. That active part appeals to me. I could not be not active. That's just part of maybe who I am, who my parents were. I don't know. My children are the same way. They're extremely active, physical people, and I think that's just great advice. We're going to be closing out here in just about a minute or so, and I want to make sure that Dr. Kramer gets his message across to all of you. A, the membership in the Millcreek Paramedic Service, extremely important, but B, give us your best bedside manner. Phil, you need to stop doing and you need to start doing. Okay?
Well, Phil, you need to start being more active.
Okay.
You need to, actually, Phil, you need to start taking more time for yourself.
That I like.
Yeah. Get your rest. Again, just stress that what's important in somebody's life, what do they enjoy to do? Taking care of yourself, quitting smoking, maybe another Christmas with your grandkids, or it may be another family vacation. It may be not only living longer, but living a more better quality of life, being active longer. So you just have to find what kind of connects with each individual and really hit that point. And there's something like that in every patient, I believe.
I promise I'll do that.
Okay.
This is Dr. Brandon Kramer. He is the Executive Director of the Millcreek Paramedic Service. He is always welcome at this table, and you are too. Until next time, I'm Phil Fatica. Take care, and Brandon, thanks for being here.
Thank
Appreciate
you
it very much.
You're watching the Millcreek Government Channel, powered by WQLN Public Media.